Okay, so I'm trying to just give a little bit of an overview of this shelter, this abandoned mine shelter, that belongs to my RP character, because I really have developed the headcanon, the lore, about both his backstory and the faction. I call it a faction, but it's really just kind of a communal collective of people, as you'll see. Anyway, I had some really good writing experiences. Sort of just the best kind of writing experiences sort of come in a flash to you and give you the whole character. I sort of struggled to click emotionally with him, and then I made my little Remnants movie and realized that there was a whole bunch of stuff there to unpack and explore. And as I looked at it more, the little quirks and the whole background sort of filled themselves out, and I got very excited to share it. And I've been struggling to find a way to record one fluid video, so we're gonna try to do it this way. As far as this goes, I really was going for a Peter Pan sort of Lost Boys-esque vibe, only sort of in a much darker way. Sort of the opposite of the Lost Boys, we're not really talking happy thoughts here, but sort of, I found it really interesting, the idea that the war traumatized, or may have traumatized a whole generation of kids in exactly the same way, which is that they had to grow up fast to survive, but maybe weren't emotionally mature. They never, had role models. They never learned how to adjust or to regulate, or what have you. So you basically have a bunch of sort of overgrown children running around. And some of them got absorbed by Foundation, no doubt, or some of them, ended up at Crater, and some of them live out in the woods in shacks, sort of like Mal, out hunting, and they're all from their own little groups and little enclaves, so to speak, and they, but this is the nest. This is the place where they all end up eventually, even for a little while. And my headcanon for this is that this was developed over a really long time, over the 25 years, and people just added to it and sort of changed it, but most of it was left pretty much where people dragged stuff in and just sort of expanded, which is why it sort of breathes out in multiple directions. Anyway, come in the door, you've got your decon shower, obviously, right there, so that nobody can contaminate anything when they come in. This is our little safety booth. This is somebody who volunteers basically to work this every so often. It's sort of a rotation. If anybody who comes in here, or anybody who lives here, has a courier job, or is carrying something that they don't want to lug around or something like that, they can leave it here. And the consensus is that nobody, it's like kicking a chicken in Skyrim. Everybody will sort of come after you if you mess with what's in here. So that's why there's only one little booth here. Here's shower, which is something that a lot of people want as soon as they come in, after being out in the wasteland for a long time. You've got your medical supplies and setups here. Really, people flying by the seat of their pants. I'm sure that actual doctors have come in through here for rotation, like for a little while, or what have you. But I really think also that there are a lot of people who just read books and did the best they could, because they didn't trust anybody. I wonder what happened to this guy, but I feel bad. Anyway, yeah. So you've got sort of a dubious line here, but this is where I'm really happy with the effect that you get when you walk in here, because you really do sort of get that enchanted forest sort of, creepy half children sort of Lost Boys vibe, but this is sort of that, while maturity sort of sprung up around it, so that there are multiple sort of half adult, half childlike things here. There's no gang wars or anything like that here. Just sort of, stop in, eat, leave, but the people who live here, know. know, everybody knows each other. You know, it's sort of a thing where you kind of see somebody in passing and you nod because you just know. So it's like that. But, anyway, at our social area, obviously you've got our foosball table. You know, West Virginia Railroad. I love this thing. Cigarette machine. It is the season, so we've got a couple little things under the tree here. You know, it really, you know, it's a thought that counts, and it can change a mood for a lot of people, really. A lot of lost people. I'm sure there are still many lost people who don't fit in anywhere. Out there, pool table. This is where you have sort of a communal sleeping area. You know, various mattresses and sleeping bags, and this looks really comfortable to me. Or at least really cozy. You know, that might just be me, but, this little snug little place here. You know, you have a couple of instruments to pass the time. Oh, look, sheep squatch. Plushie. Soda Pop must have been here. That's your sleeping bag, I guess. Shout out to Soda Pop. Nuka-Cola. You know, machine. This is, you know, and everybody has their little suitcases. Anyway, this is a quiet area. This is sort of, if you're gonna sit and talk, you know, imagine people sitting over a campfire and telling urban legends. This would be the area. You know, somebody goes out hunting, they come back, you know, 3 weeks later, and they saw, you know, the Mothman. This is where they tell that story. You know, and people obviously over here who are sitting or, like, laying down or whatever can hear those stories and sort of experience that. You know, I've got our ukulele here by the fire. Obviously, you know, books, magazines, just a way to relax if you want to sort of take a load off. It's our Nuka-Cola cafe corner. These are all these scavenged Nuka-Cola machines. You know, whoever can get them running, you know, is a hero for a little while. So then we end up with a tiny little sort of Nuka cafe. And this is sort of sad because everything's crooked and it's all rusted but everybody loves their Nuka-Cola, so we have to have a Nuka-Cola. If you go back here, behind this door that I still haven't closed, secret door, quote-unquote, you have a hidden little staircase here. Another ukulele, because they're just great. But, here you have the throne of the underground here. And I didn't realize the view was quite this fantastic, but coming up here, you realize that you can see pretty much everything that goes on down here. Like, you can see the dining area, you can see all the games, you can even see the entrance to the training ship pretty clearly. You can see the in and out end of the tracks, you can see the medical area. So, yeah, whoever's up here gets a pretty bird's eye view. This is a pretty killer view. Sometimes there's nobody, and it's just sort of, you know, anarchy, but, you know, you find that if people have struggled to survive together for a really long time, then they tend to not want to make it harder for each other. Anyway, this is the little mess hall pizza truck. You know, little area here. Supplies for to feed whoever sort of comes through. It's kind of cozy from here too, if you look at it from over here. This is the decision-making area. This is the survivor table. This is a place where, you know, if anybody has a problem that they need to address and they just need like 5 other people's opinions on it, you know, you can convene a group of your friends or a group of people, or if, say, Foundation wants to trade, you know, and people down here are the only people who have it, you know, this is where they sit and make those decisions. Whoever comes to ask the question sits here. Whoever is in charge of, you know, moderating the discussion or whatever it is sits here, obviously, and then the decision gets talked about. And again, because this is in a really central location here, obviously the throne up there can see it. I didn't realize it was quite that great of a view line, but it is. People, you know, playing games can hear. People sitting over here. Pretty much, you know, if something important was happening here, everybody would have a good general idea of what was going on. Up here, this is our, I say our, which is funny. because in my particular roleplay canon, Mal hasn't been here in years, but still, knows where it is. Anyway, I don't know what this guy did, but it makes sense that an insular community would want to handle things, their own way. So there's that. This is one of my very favorite things about this particular roleplay faction. And again, I say faction, but roleplay backstory, let's put it that way, is that if you look at this really illustrates that sort of half child, half, adult, sort of permanent stasis, I guess, that Peter Pan-ism of it. Is that if you imagine that, a bunch of kids found this abandoned fortune teller machine, maybe from the last iteration of Nuka World on Tour, and were scared and sort of feral at that point, they give it this sort of superstitious power, which I tried to keep that really obvious. No decorations, no lights, no nothing. Just this slow walk to this old fortune teller machine, but this was sort of accidentally great. I really love this, and I didn't really plan on the whole thing coming together all as one theme, but the view from out here really sort of goes with this superstition, and so, they know that it really doesn't have supernatural powers, but maybe it's good to be careful just in case. So that's sort of, where Mount has a lot of his views on things, especially with things that have happened to him in his life as a character. And so, yeah, this is the hot tub, the hot water from the spring here. So some wise guy put a chair there. You got your raider cage and this sort of grotesquely and yet perfectly placed tire swing, which just is I love that visual. I love this visual very, very, very much. This just this is one of my favorite screenshot video shot that I've ever taken. I love the way the colors work, and the snapping flag over there, and it does sort of look like that enchanted forest, some suspended in time sort of thing, and it's not, and it's all very valid, and it's all very real. It's realistic, and within the lore, to find most of these things, and yet it has that sort of superstitious look to it. Yep, you've got your necessary areas over here, and your dividers that help. Not at all, I would assume, but it's the thought that counts, I guess. And then obviously you have your rides, and again, these are things that I imagine as having been dragged here, piece by piece over the years, arranged, sort of rearranged as more things came in, and just sort of, this is sort of a little, blow some steam off, come in, play some games, area. We've got all of our Nuka-Cola games, Getaway Wagon, Duck Hunt. We've got circusly creepy yet sort of melancholy feel to it, and I don't know how well they came across. Sort of it's scary and sad and sort of cool all at the same time, and that's sort of the vibe. That's sort of Mal's whole vibe. He doesn't really know what to do outside of survival and just sort of danger of death on the Nuka-Cola trampoline, because of course there is. Ammo box over there, hiding behind the sign there. So that you can use it for the arcade. This is the training ship. Get on board. Obviously, there's not a lot of luxury here. This is just do it or don't. Here is the this is the workbench area. Obviously, there's not a lot of, not a lot of subtlety, not a lot of form over function. This is just, you need it, you got it, it's right here. Take what you need and go. That's, do what you gotta do. And then this, that last area here, is sort of the luxury, I want to say the leader area, but as they don't have a specific leader because it wasn't a group that formed, it was just sort of a collective. It is sort of a rotating of this area. I think that Mal was either in this position recently or the last time that he was here. Just because he's one of those, who cares, let's do it and see what happens sort of people. Like, yeah, why not? If it ends badly, then, it ends badly. If it ends fine, then it ends fine. So I think that's why there's so many, specifically Nuka-Cola gadgets here. But yeah, we've got all of our trinkets. I love these so much. Emergency Nuka-Cola stash, little area to cook, so that whoever's here doesn't have to go out to the mess hall. Or, they won't have company over to talk. Couches, and there's just privacy, dryness, lack of dampness, and light and personal space are pretty much the main perks of this area. You notice that the collective areas are pretty, how that goes. So yeah, this is that's pretty much it. I think that's the whole tour. Actually, I think I managed to do it finally. But this is I say entirely too much. I'm so sorry. This is he says too much, promptly says instead. Anyway, I was really going for that, like I said, that Lost Boys vibe. So, Mal as a roleplay character is generally out wandering around up in the mountains doing his own thing because that's sort of who he evolved into. But there are always entrances that come to this place, and there are always people that will remember you. People that you traded with when you were 12. People who gave you a fur coat when their caravan was going by when you were 14, and had gotten, your leg mangled by a deathclaw, or the Free States guys, for example, that, put the, fixed Mal's eye when he, got hit by the shrapnel from the grenade at Huntersville. So, there will always be people, and that sort of moving river of people around and aside from the Vault Dwellers and the people who are born into raider groups or born with the Foundation people is fascinating to me. Or maybe it's just I'm fascinated by the psychological aspect of a bunch of lost boys, running around the wasteland. Who knows what they're gonna do? That's it's an entirely unpredictable facet of the population. So it's like the fear is there, but the fear is there because you wonder what kind of people live here, like in that constant sort of, with that constant sort of overshadowing sense of being frozen in some kind of eternal